done that. Available. Yeah. First of all, thanks a lot for all of you to join this virtual meetup. Though we are means not able to did it past almost 6 to 7 months, even precisely 7 months after the last in-person meetup for different issues and all these things. But I'm very much thankful to Priya to take the initiatives and again reverse and reiterate the same pace of speed where we already stacked last year. And once again, a very warm good morning to all of you, and might be evening whoever joining from the other part of the global. Okay, so this is the ninth MuleSoft in-person meetup, and today one of the good topic for the integration will be later part will be covered by one of our industry veteran, Shovam, and also covered it by Priya. But before that, definitely we have also introduced a couple of new folks who have already newly joined to MuleSoft and Salesforce community. So these our meetup is not only like okay, we are representing our own region, our own city. Can you go on mute because it's echoing from Priya.
Priya, go on mute.
Yeah, thank you. So these particular meetups, like not only the Kolkata or Hyderabad or Delhi or Mumbai or whatever, Sydney, whatever we know or Surat, it doesn't mean like okay, it's an individual representation. Whenever we start any meetup, it's a community representation. That is the first and foremost thing we need to understand. And the main agenda for this community meetup is to understand the people, to collaborate the people, to share the knowledge, and to learn something new. So that is the main agenda. That's why the MuleSoft community almost last, as because I'm the part of the community almost last 8.5 years, and I know this is eventually gradually growing like last 5.5 years before COVID and post COVID as well. So that is a great platform which MuleSoft initially started, and then MuleSoft and Salesforce conglomerate ecosystem provided. So that amalgamation when happened, we thought how it goes, but it goes we don't know like what could be the speed of that, but what the final result, how the speed and how it's taking the trajectory and the inclination, we all know the resultant. That's why today 2023 the MuleSoft and Salesforce as a CRM and the integration ESB platform is almost everywhere, every sector it's a market leading, whether it's a IPS, whether it's an ESB solution, whether it's a event driven solution, whether it's an RPA, whether it's an CRM instack solution, anywhere it could be a market leading. So that's a very good part. Now we all know whenever we are trying to do something in means without the audience it is not a standalone thing. So first audience comes, what you need, what could be the topic you could suggest, and what's the main intent to go for the topic. So that is the mutual thing. Whenever the meetup moderator or speaker they are thinking, they are conveying some things, okay, definitely that's their responsibility. It's also the dual responsibility or synchronous responsibility on the other hand. Like whenever we get something positive notes, next time definitely what could be the topic, what could be the agendas, and what could be the mode of consideration pointers that could be help us to bring this bridge in a better way, and alongside the industry veterans, alongside the beginners, alongside the midwest people. So everything would be a mix and match sync. Okay, next slide, Priya. It's done. Could you please go on the next? Yeah. So now this is nothing but you all know this is the moderator page for Kolkata MuleSoft Meetup. I hope you all know me. I'm Brajesh Roy, Senior Technical Architect and Technical Manager of Xavalu Integration Practice, and I have almost 13 years of IT experience, and that is an integration. I started my career with Informatic and Chipco, then APG, MuleSoft, and Boomi. Alongside last almost 7.5 years, I'm working with MuleSoft, starting with Mule 3.7.x, and now all 4.4. And alongside one of our co-moderator, which is Suman, he's an architect at Wipro, but for some personal reason, he was not able to join today. And another newcomer to this group, also someone is a newcomer to that MuleSoft Meetup Kolkata group, like Priya. So Priya is a senior software specialist in the LTM entry. So whatever I just initially told, due to hard initiatives, and he's a super excited girl and super excited fellow for this whole community to make it live. So once again, I'm grateful and thankful to Priya. So this is nothing else from their introduction. Now over to you, Priya.
Yeah. Okay, Shivam, can you start with your introduction? Then I'll take this up.
Okay. Okay. So, everyone, a very good morning. I am Shivam, and I'm currently a MuleSoft developer, and is a professional integration developer at Millennium. Okay. And I have close to 3 years. I mean, 3 years of experience in integration. And regarding the certifications, I've already completed all the certification except one, the category. And I also completed course AWS GCP Azure certifications. Other than that, regarding the community, I'm a MuleSoft meetup leader, speaker as well, and also contribute to AWS. So I'm AWS community builder. So other than that, my heart. So I always play games and loves to compete. So it's all about me. I wrote blogs. My Medium blog is this URL. So you can check out the blogs that I have written. That's all about me. Over to you.
Okay. So yeah, good morning, everyone. I'll just start with my introduction. So hello, everyone. My name is Priya Shah, and I'm from Kolkata, and I'm currently working with LTI Mindtree as a senior software specialist. So prior to that, I've worked with Cognizant and TCS as well. So it's been almost 5 years since I'm working into integration domain, and I have majorly worked on IBM Stack. And it's been quite a some time since I started learning MuleSoft. Okay, and I'm like MCD certified and IBM certified. And I'm a MuleSoft meetup leader for Kolkata, and I'm also a MuleSoft mentor. So yeah, today is my first session as a speaker, and today I'll be talking about DocuSign and its integration with MuleSoft. So let's quickly see like what is the agenda for today's topic. So today we are going what is DocuSign, and we are going to see different features of DocuSign. And then we'll also have some quick demo on the DocuSign signature portal. Okay. And then we have DocuSign REST API. So there are several APIs which are provided by DocuSign. So we are going to look into those APIs. And then we will also do some configuration setup into our Postman locally. Okay. And then at the end, we have DocuSign integration with MuleSoft on our Anypoint Platform Studio. And at the end, we are going to wrap up the session with our question answer session. So let's get started with the DocuSign introduction. So DocuSign is
Yeah,
an agreement
sorry for
management
the
portal.
interruption, Priya. So before start with that, anyone do have any idea about the background of the DocuSign, how it works, and what is need? Just check with the audience, then we can start. Like, if anyone have any idea.
Mhm.
We have probably used DocuSign at least once in our life,
Yeah,
signing the new offer letters from the companies.
yeah.
Correct, correct.
That's a very good example. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So yeah, so now like we'll basically see how internally this DocuSign works,
Right,
right?
right.
So yeah, let's get started with the DocuSign introduction. So like it was basically founded in the year 2003. So it is a time when the patent for internet base signature was held by a tech startup called DocuTouch. So this particular agreement management system basically helps you to send, sign, approve digitally over the internet. So as you already know, like in today's business world, everything is moving faster, and you have to be available either from office or anywhere in the world, right? And this DocuSign portal basically provide you a platform where you can send, manage, approve any document anywhere, anytime, right? So this is a very powerful tool, you can say. Why do we need DocuSign? So let's try to understand this within a scenario. So what used to happen in a traditional system? So in a traditional way, like whenever we used to receive any email with a document, first we used to take the printout of the document, then we used to manually sign it, and then we used to scan it and send it to the email. And sometimes we also had to send that particular signed document to a particular address. So all this process used to take a lot of time, right? And as every contract, every agreement, everything is like we are maintaining over the paper, so it becomes like very challenging task to again like find that particular document in case of any need. And sometimes it can also happen that your document will be lost, right? And there will be some instances where in a document you forget some places where you need to sign, right? So to resolve all this problem, DocuSign came into the picture, which makes all this task very easy, right? So it gives you a platform where you can manage your document. You can easily just in a fraction of a second you can sign and send the document to the recipient. So all this process become very easy when the DocuSign came into the market. So now, like as you have understood, like what a DocuSign is and what it does, let's understand few of its DocuSign terminology, which you are going to hear a lot in this session, right? So it's very important for you first to understand like what is envelope, what is document, right, and what is the difference between them. So envelope, you can consider it as a right, which basically contains all your documents. So an envelope can contain one documents, multiple documents, right, based on your requirement. And this document is nothing but it's just a file which can be of any format. It can be of doc, PDF, PPT, okay. And you can send this particular envelope to multiple recipient, right? So this recipient are the people who are basically going to receive your document at the end, right? And this recipient, like for recipient, it is not necessary that you have a DocuSign account. Okay. And for any document, right, we will have several fields. So these fields are your sign, signature, like your all these things, or the tags are basically the fields on the documents, which basically specifies the recipient like what all action he has to take from his end. Okay. So if you have understood the previous slide properly, then it's just a representation. So this brown part basically is your envelopes, have your document, and it has a recipient mentioned, this address basically, and these are the fields or the tags which specifies the recipient like what all he needs to fill from his end. Okay. So this envelope, you can use it as as a template also, right? So suppose example, in case of offer letter, so you when you are creating an envelope for an offer letter, you might need that particular envelope again and again to send the same offer letter with some changes to the multiple candidates, right? So in that case, we can make our envelope as a template as well, and we can reuse it again and again. So these are the terminology related to the DocuSign. So now let's see like what all are the key features which are provided by the DocuSign. So apart from the signing management, this DocuSign also provide a very good workflow management, right? So you can basically create a workflow. So for an example, like suppose a new employee joined and that particular has to sign a contractual agreement, right? So you can create a workflow where the first initiated mail will first go to the new employee, and once that particular employee signs a document, the same signed document can be again sent to his manager to take an action upon. So he can also sign that particular document again from his side. And then at the end, like we can send a copy of it to the HR. So this kind of workflow, it is very easy to create in a DocuSign portal, right? And next is carbon copy. So it also helps you to create send a carbon copy of your envelope. So suppose you have an offer letter. So while sending an offer letter, suppose you want a carbon copy of it to be sent to your talent acquisition teams, right? So you can easily do that in the DocuSign portal to keep the track of this among the organization and the different hierarchy of people, right? And we can also send reminder. We can have a scheduler. All this also set for your envelope. So suppose you are sending an offer letter and you want that offer letter to be valid only for a week. right? You can set an expiration of that particular envelope, and you can also send a reminder in your like specified interval, so that user can take action on it on a stipulated time. Okay, and then at the end we have a comments. Okay, so in a document also, like you can mention comments, okay, if you want to, so that if needed they can go through those documents and can reach out to you in case of any need. Okay, so now if you, as you have understood a little bit about the DocuSign, let's see like how this DocuSign portal looks like, and let's go through, walk through this portal together. Okay, so this is the DocuSign login portal. You have to make account to this particular URL. So I have already made an account here, if you'll see. So whenever you log into this app.docusign page, this is a landing page which you're going to come. Okay, so in this particular home page, you'll see several tabs. So this particular thing basically shows your signature. You can change your signature anytime from here. And this particular tab shows basically the status of your envelope. So suppose you have created an envelope and sent it to a recipient, and if any action is required, you can check the count and the status of that from this menu. Then we have, suppose you have sent envelope and you're waiting for that recipient for the action, those count will be basically shown here. And then we have envelope for which we have set an expiry date. Those approaching expiry envelope is going to be visible in this tab, and for those envelope for which you have already completed the task and it is closed, those will be basically visible in this particular tab. So we also have this manage, okay, which basically manages your template. Sorry, this basically manages your envelope, right? Whatever envelope you create, okay, for the recipient, those you can see from here. The template will basically manage your templates. So here, if you see, I have created offer letter template, right? Which we can use it again and again with just little changes to it. Then this report tab basically shows the report. Okay, so you can create your custom report and you can use it, right, anytime. Okay, so that's all about the DocuSign e-signature portal. So now let's see like how we can create this basically envelope, right? So this is from where you will start creating an envelope. So as you can see, like the envelope, right, which we are going to create should contain a document. So we can upload a document from here. So we have a wide variety of options from where we can choose our documents. So let's choose it from the desktop. So this is a document which we are going to use now. We can view and check, yeah, this is the right document, okay. Then we can send this particular envelope to a recipient. So we have to specify that recipient details here. So this has to be sent to a employee, right? So suppose I am the employee, okay. And then I can also add details of my manager signed to this particular document. So I can add my manager details and then HR detail, right? So after once both the party will sign, a copy of it should go to an HR, to the HR, right? See, okay. So with DocuSign, you can easily maintain the signing order, which I have already discussed earlier. So if you'll see, right, we can easily set the signing order, and we can also specify what action is needed for which recipient. So for this employee, she needs to sign, and for manager, she also needs to sign to this agreement, right? And for HR, he does not need to sign. It is just fine for him to receive a copy of it. Then he can take further action on it, okay? And for any recipient, you can specify like how that person should access those documents. So these are the options which you can set for that person. Okay, and then we can add a message. So by default, this email subject will be like written. Then you have to just add the email message. Okay, fine. So you can specify this, and we also have some advanced option, right? Where I was basically specifying like we can add the reminder, and we can set the expiration date also. So suppose this envelope will expire in 7 days. Okay, so within that 7 days, I can also set reminder. So suppose after 2 days, I want to set a reminder every day that please sign this document. So this particular envelope can automatically send a reminder notification over the mail to the recipient. We can save it and let's go next. Yeah, so if you'll see here, now we are done with the envelope, we are done with the document stuffs. Now comes the filled part. So here you'll have to specify the fields on which the user or the recipient has to take an action. So if you have multiple recipient, right, it will maintain the color code so that you can easily identify for which color which fields are meant for that person. So for me, for an he needs to print the name. So you can specify all the fields here, right? You can specify the date and signature done for the employee, and then for the manager also. She needs to give the name, title, and date. Okay, this is done. So you can once you specify all this, right, you can send this. So the moment you are sending this, right, as per our specified mention order, right, it should first go to the employee to sign. So this is how you'll receive the mail basically, right? You can, being an employee, you can go through this contractual document, agreement document, you can review it, and then you'll see like most of the details will be automatically fetched, which we have filled earlier, right? And we have to fill the sign here. Once this is done, you can just click on the finish button. And so you'll see like in the workflow, first part of it is already completed, right? Let's see, like what is the status of that thing. So once I'll refresh, you'll see like now the status is pending with Richa, who is, so from one party, the action is completed. Now, the other action is now sent to the manager to take an action upon. So let's see how yeah. So this is the email of the manager. So she has received the uh, documents to review and sign, right? Let's continue it. So if you'll see the first action is visible here, which we have already taken, and this is the second action. So most of the detail it has already filled, okay, on its own. Now we can finish it. So as per the workflow, now the both the party has signed, and a copy of it should go to the HR. Yeah, so you will receive a mail like this that the process has completed, and you'll get a status of view complete document status. Okay, so yeah, let's refresh it. And if you'll see, you will see the envelope status is not completed, and you can easily manage whatever you have completed right from here, and you can basically download it in case of any need in future. So in that way, you can basically maintain your envelope as well. So this is quite about this envelope, how we can access it and manage it, right? Let's now see.
Oh, Pia, sorry to interrupt. I have a question.
Yeah.
And how
Mhm.
automatically the name titles got printed there? Could you please put some light on that?
Yeah, so as I'm already signed it, right, in my browser, I have signed all the emails. So the moment you will sign it, it will fetch a few of the detail on its own from the cache. So it will be like this. The moment you'll sign in, you'll be able to see a few of your details are auto-populated. Okay.
Is it because I have used it already?
Yeah, it is because and all my details are already in the session.
Got it. So for the first timer, it should not be there.
Yeah, correct. For the first time, a name will be there because it will automatically understand like to which recipient it is sending. So name field will be automatically populated.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this field is smart enough to fetch few of the detail on its own, so that the minimal information you just need to fill and quickly sign it and send it. Okay. So after this, we have two types of signing possible in our DocuSign. First one is remote signing, and another one is embedded signing. So for the remote signing, if you'll see, if we are sending an envelope right over the email, the DocuSign basically will authenticate the signer for the further process. But in case of embedded signing, your web app will basically authenticate. Okay, and later if you want, your DocuSign can also do further authentication. Okay, so there, we now we have understood how DocuSign basically work, and we have seen all the process related to it in a UI in a better way. So the same functionality we can achieve APIs as well. Okay, so there are several APIs which are provided by DocuSign. First and foremost and most popular among those is eSignature REST API. So this is a very popular one, and it uses a standard request JSON structure um, to send the request and receive the response. And then we have other APIs as well, like e-signature for Salesforce. It is also another most popular APIs which is provided by the DocuSign. And if you want to write automate your workflow, or you want to make use of this, you can use also for the better customization. Okay, and then we have a click API. So this click API is useful when you want to capture the agreement, right? Like your privacy, your terms and condition in just one click. You can make use of this click API. Okay, then we have Room API. So this Room API is basically useful when we want to manage a very big workflow, and a big workflow where we have to sign a lot of documents. So in case of real estate or mortgage, right, this Room API is very much useful. Then if your workflow really requires any API which basically authenticates your um, which basically authenticates the user, you can make use of this ID evidence API. And then we have Notary API, okay, which uses online notary. And then we have an admin API, where it basically manages your user account. There are different aspects which admin API can manage, and we can make use of this API. And then we have at the end Monitor API, which basically monitors the unauthorized activity. Okay, and it can also generate alerts in case of any unethical activity is happening, right? So if you'll see the use case of DocuSign, the use case of DocuSign is wide. Like you can, DocuSign is everywhere. You can use it in sales department, HR department, finance, IT, legal, marketing. Then we have facilities, product management, procurement. So the use case of DocuSign is huge, and it is basically used everywhere for the signing or for managing the documents like that. Okay. So this is pretty much about it. So now we will look into the developer account. So if you want to access the same functionality using the API, right, we need to make use of DocuSign developer portal. So before I start, I want to know if you have any question. Okay, now we can start with the DocuSign developer portal. So this is the portal where you'll have to make account if you want to access the APIs which are provided by DocuSign. So I have already logged in. So you can also create an account using the this link only. Okay. So let's understand what this page has to say. So we have this API SDK site. So there are several APIs which we have already seen just now. So what all are the REST APIs which are provided by DocuSign? Now we will do this configuration setup for the Postman in our local. So for that, first thing what we'll have to do is we'll have to go to My Apps and Keys. So this is the page where you can basically create your application. Okay. So now we'll just do the Postman configuration part. So for that, let's create a new application. Yeah. The moment you are creating an application, it will give you an integration key. Let's take a copy of it. And then there are different authorization methods which you can use for your application. So there are basically these three type of authentication, okay, possible in DocuSign. First one is authorization code, implicit grant, and then we have JWT grant. Okay, so if your application, right, is a single page application that sends API request directly from a script, you can use the implicit grant. In the same way, like if your application, right, uses a browser or client to make a request, you can make use of authorization code grant. In the same way, like if you use a single login for all your user in your applications, you should go for JWT grant. So these are the three different authorization methods. So for now, like we are going to use our Postman to send the request and response, we are going to make use of uh, this option, authorization code grant. So let's copy the secret key of it. Okay, and then we will also have to provide the redirect URL. So redirect URL. So the moment you are authenticating the user, right, it should, after the authentication, it should redirect to this particular page. So it can be any URL. So I have given this example callback URL. Let's just save it. Once your app is ready, we are ready to set up our Postman. So let's go to Tool, Postman Collection. So for this setup, the prerequisite is like you should have a DocuSign developer portal login. It's already there. We should have Postman installed. That is already done for me. Okay. So let's create an environment. So we have to just follow this. Okay. And have to follow this and do this and fill all these details. Okay. So let's give the integration key. Then this is the secret key which we'll have to add. Okay. And then just create the environment. Okay. Once this page setup is done, you added all the details, you have to click on Run in Postman. Import a copy. So you will see that this particular APIs, DocuSign APIs will be automatically added in your Postman collection. So you can choose like where you want to import it. So it is in my workspace. Yeah. So REST APIs, available APIs are already imported in your Postman. So we can also have our environment ready, which we have already just set up, where you can see like what all are the fields dynamically, which will get populated. And if you want to trigger any of this API, first we need a, okay, I think it is loading. It should load this authentication part as well. Okay, now it is coming. Okay, so once this authentication is ready and you want to test it, okay, what we'll have to do is we have to follow the step 3. So what it is saying is like we have to first generate the code grant. So we have to copy this this particular URL for the code grant, and we have to change the dynamic this placeholder, right? So for key, I have to provide this particular key, and this is the URL, callback URL, which I have to set here. So the moment you will trigger this, right, in your browser, it will give you the code grant, which is valid just for 2 minutes. Okay, allow access. So once you'll get this code, right, you can again use it to generate the token, which will have an expiry of 30 minutes. So better we will go for a token to use it instead of code grant, because we'll have every time we'll have to generate it again and again, as it has an expiry of just 2 minutes. So let's go to the JW2 access token to generate a token.
Raise your
Sorry,
laptop like plugged in for charging.
I don't know. I think it will work now. Are you able to see, right, properly my screen?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So you will have to add your code generated code here to get the access token. So once you have this access token, now you can use it used to trigger any API for 30 minutes. And if you'll see, right, if you'll save it, all this a token will be automatically saved in the environment for further use. You will not have to copy paste this again and again. So let's go and trigger one, okay, to see how it is working. So in the header, it requires, right, and it is auto populated because we have said saved it in the environment. Now let's click on send button, and you can see like we can get the user info details here pretty well, right? So this is how you can use Postman, and you can do the configuration setup, and you can make use of all these APIs which are provided by the DocuSign. Okay, so that's pretty much from theoretical aspects. Now we'll see the DocuSign integration with MuleSoft. So I'll hand it over to Shubham to take it further. Okay.
So before that, do you have any question, guys? You can post it over here. No. Okay, great. Shubham, you can go ahead.
Okay, so what we will be doing is basically getting all the created in the as integration. We need to make use of APIs to do everything that people are doing, right? So, like for example, sending document um, through API. Okay, let me post it. So we doing all those things like say for example send the document to the user. So we'll be doing the same, sending an envelope. Okay, and we can check the status like it is being signed or not. Okay, what is the status of that? And signing, we can also get the document like the signed document, right? We need some checking purpose. Okay, so we'll be doing all that. So let's quickly just we got the access token, right? So we'll use this access token in our further calls. Okay, so let's talk about an API. So these are all the APIs to us. Okay, for example, here bulk envelopes billing. So if you want to check the billing status of your account, or even if you want to check the account of your account status, like let's say account info, you want to all these. We'll not be talking about these. We'll be talking about the envelopes API. So the examples for okay. So there is an examples folder here. Yeah. So we'll make use of that. We'll be able to create. Okay. So let's see the request. Okay, like how's the so let me first show you. Okay, like for this. Okay, so you can see we have this. Okay, eSign REST API. So if you want just identify like the parameters here, what are the parameters here? Okay, and take reference of this um okay. So we are okay. So this is the envelopes. And we want to create one. Okay, so it's a post. So um, see we have landed on this page. There are a couple of we can see API reference like all the details about okay this endpoint. And if you only without using the Postman, you can use the API Explorer. Okay, do it will populate all the like application values like access token etc. already ready for you. You don't need to do just like it did configuring the Postman. Okay, so we'll quickly read the required parameters. So these are required parameters like status, email subject, and the document we want to send. Okay, and the recipients, the user whom we want to send to. Okay, so as you can see, the parameter which is required. So there are two associated values with it. If we want to send the instantly, like option send value, and if we pass the value, so it will save the envelope. It will not send. It will save the envelope as a draft. Okay. If we want to send it, we can just recall this API again with the sent value. Okay. So let's and check the values here. So you can let me minimize this part. Yeah. So you documents array. So that means like we are sending an envelope, right? And it can contain multiple documents. That's why it's an array. To pass multiple documents, we can do envelope. In an envelope, we can have multiple documents. Okay. You can see there is a key document base64. So we have whatever document we are want to send to the user through API, the base64 value for that PDF. Okay. Um, that or online service by uploading a PDF and then this base64 value. Okay. So that part is easy. Email subject. Okay. So the user will array what the purpose of this document is, and he or she receives the email. Okay. Then the recipients like home and these are like whom we are sending it. Okay. For this use case, I am sending it to my recipient ID. So let's send this. Okay. So it will be sent instantly. Okay. Let's call this API. Where the URL already populated. Okay. Version is version 2.1. Base URL is this one. Okay. So you know of the base URL. So maybe if it can be different URL for you on maybe the name of the app. You can get that info. Okay. So you can see if you send this details, you will get this base URL. Okay. Endpoint, and this also it means we are creating an envelope.
Hey Shubham,
Shubham, you are
there,
breaking sometimes.
yeah, there are some network issue. I think you should switch off your camera for better bandwidth. Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, I was connected mobile.
You can disable your video mode, no worries. You can just demo.
Are we audible now?
Yeah, you are.
It should be good now because I'm connected to the Wi-Fi now. Let's try sending this again. Yeah. So see, we have received the response. Okay. 201 created. Okay, and the envelope ID is we have received an envelope ID. Okay, which is associated with this like particular request. Okay, and status date and the status is sent. Okay, so if I will go to my email and check like if I have received this documentation for signing, will be able to
So
see that.
sorry for the interruption, Shubham. So one basic question, because these all are the REST APIs, but whenever the MuleSoft like product has a DocuSign connector, why customer or user should bother about the understanding the REST API and all these things? Because underlying connector should do all these things. They should not bother how it works and everything. They should do that just plug and play connector configuration and do the rest of the stuff. That's the business of the MuleSoft connector, right?
Yeah. So first of all, like if I will talk about connector, okay. I mean, see the DocuSign is continuously updating and improving their APIs and releasing the new APIs, right? So connector, let's say someone creates this, or maybe MuleSoft has created it, and it may have included some of these APIs, but chances are like all those new functionalities and the changes are not being there in the connector. Okay, so if you are if you can always create your own connector, right? Custom connector, and make use of these APIs for creating your own
So
DocuSign
whenever
custom connector.
DocuSign is there, we can easily reach out to the MuleSoft product team for just like I'm giving an example, Coupa is there. Coupa is not a MuleSoft build connector. Coupa is completely Coupa team has created, and there is no license implementation and pricing model or the monetization involved for the MuleSoft. It's completely handled by Coupa. Only the request whenever the some customer they are utilizing the Coupa, that routing request would go back to MuleSoft and to Coupa team. Similarly, it should route it to MuleSoft to DocuSign. So whenever let's say any customer they have a DocuSign, they don't think about okay, what are the underlying REST step and everything. Just I'm utilizing configure. That's what MuleSoft is all about, the connector business, right? So whenever they have to anything, why they utilize the connector as well. They will question MuleSoft, hey, you are providing the connectors, why I'm configuring so many REST API, so many configuration now. I should not bother about these things, right?
Yeah. So what I would say is, like, for example, if you are trying to connect to MuleSoft and just telling them like, can you add this functionality as well, which has been recently released by DocuSign. So it can be done, but all it will take time, right? MuleSoft verifies everything is working properly and API is stable and all. So it depends, and if you want to incorporate that functionality, that new functionality released by the API, DocuSign API, you want to make use of it instantly. So then you can use then comes the use of these APIs, right? So you can customize, always customize, and there is a connector available. Yeah, you can make use of that for basic for these basic functions. But let's say a new functionality is there and it's not there in the DocuSign connector, so you have to make use of the API then in that case. Okay. All anyways, when we are knowing the like internals of these APIs, it is better, right?
So
Because
do you have any handle list? What is provided by MuleSoft connector and what is not concluded into the MuleSoft connector? Let's say there's a number of services, just for hypothetical number, 50 services, DocuSign is provided. Okay, out of these 50 services, as of now, whatever the latest version MuleSoft DocuSign connector has, XYZ version, it only includes 30. Rest of the 20, if some customers want to implement, they need to incorporate, they have to go over the REST API model, not the connector model. It could be better understanding for the larger audience whenever they are implementing for any project need or any customer need. It could be better for just a go-to document.
yeah, so we will be going over like the connector as well. Even in the case of connector, you will need to understand the like the body structure and the payload that we are providing, right? Because even in the connector we are providing this body, right? So if we know about the body structure, that's what we are talking about here, right? That we have to provide this this payload, what
No,
this
no,
document basically.
that is fine. Whatever you just told. Let's say some of the new features which is added already over there, which is not part of your connector. So do you have any such kind of list like out of 50 APIs, 30 APIs is part of the connector and rest of the 20 APIs is not part of the connector. It is part of the REST APIs which is not evolved yet over the connector level in MuleSoft. But if I as a user want to utilize that, I have to make use of the REST API.
um, I
So
have to.
adding, yeah, sure.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
No, just adding to your that point, just to see, like, having an idea of the API portal is always good, because whatever connectors we have, we always have a limitations with that. Okay, you cannot give all you cannot get all the capabilities in a single connector, but you can have a lot of things in the API portal. So just adding to that, like, I'm dragging to another example of Smartsheet which I have worked on. Okay, so we have got the capability of having a Smartsheet connector in MuleSoft, but still I have used API portal. Why? Because when we use a Smartsheet connector, you need to have a specific keys over there, which you get only when you create when you initially take the license. And once if you don't get that keys, you are unable to fetch that key later on after you get the license. So that is blocking me to create to use that connector with those particular key. But although we have a API portal, it was very easy for me to do all the activities what I have. And as I added, the connectors may have some limitations which the API portal will not have. You will get a complete idea what a API portal will do. You will have the backend information, like
Completely,
how it
yeah,
works.
completely agree. That's what my
Correct.
point is. Let's say you have a 50 capability. Out
Uh,
of 50 capability, 30 capabilities part of a connector, but rest of the 20, whenever customer want to utilize that, let's say they have a within that 30 limitation. They want to utilize that. Why should they go for the connector? And why
yeah.
should they cover the REST
So
API,
so
right? So
see
that's a pretty
so
discrimination will be there, right?
see that's why we have all these things now. So now the point of discussion is like how we can do that. It's not the point of discussion like why should I use API portal and why should I not don't use connector. It's completely your choice. If you're getting the capabilities with the connector, go with that. If you don't get that, then go with the API portal.
Exactly, that is my whole point is whenever we
Hmm.
have a comparison, if we had
Correct.
that kind of list, let's say I have 10 capabilities.
Hmm.
Out of 10 capabilities, 6 capabilities is providing the connector and API portal both, and rest of the 4, only if I want to make use that it will be available over the developer portal. So it will be better utilization of the users and the customer. Hey, I have to go for the REST API portal and dev portal because I want to utilize that specific utilization of that package.
Correct. So that required some kind of R&D. That requires some kind of research. So when we
Yeah,
are
that's
doing
what I'm asking, Shubham. Do you have
uh,
any such kind of list available with you for the audience, which would be better for that referencing?
I don't think so. I mean, because I mean, I have found whatever like I am thing I am doing. Okay, like calling this MLabs API. So this functionality is there in the connector, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to like look out because there are already a lot of functionalities in the DocuSign connector. Let me show you. Like, but for like what request is not there functionality, we'll have to like try out and see. It will depend, like when we are searching for a particular activity, when we are trying to do one particular activity and it is not there,
Mm-hmm.
then we will make use of that API. As of now, like I don't know like which functionality is not
because
included in this
because
connector.
from technical manager consulting perspective, not only purely technical perspective, I'm saying whenever we are proposing anything to any of the new customer which is already a provided customer, the CIO and CTO level, they are very much asking, hey, what is the need of, they have a connector, why I'm utilizing my resource to understand and go over R&D for the dev portal. So if you have any significant pointers for the respective things, we can easily tell them, hey, this is the limitation, you should go for that.
Yeah, so that's a great point, Vijay, because when we do an architecture, then obviously we need to have these capabilities, right? Like why we should go with connector or why should we go with API portal, we need to
Right.
justify that. Then only we should get it. That's a good
Yeah.
point. But maybe like with time constraint or anything,
Yeah, understood.
whatever they have prepared that, right?
Yeah, no,
We cannot find that as of
no,
now.
no, no. That's why I'm asking if, as because Subham has
Correct,
anything, it would be very
correct.
much helpful for all of us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Subham. Thank you.
Uh,
Yep.
I'm Dipanjan here. Sorry to interrupt, but just wanted to add one point here that even if there is a connector available in the MuleSoft, say suppose anyone else who wants to develop this particular integration in any other technology apart from MuleSoft, which is probably not providing this kind of ready-made connectors. So in that point of view, we have to actually understand the behavior of the APIs. Like even if we have a ready-made connector, how it is exactly internally behaving, we have to understand it to better understand the API. I think yes, definitely ready-made connectors are making our life easy, but from a point of view of understanding this API or how this service is working, probably Shubham is doing a good job of
I
going through the
understood. I
APIs.
completely agree with the Dipanjan, but being a
And
biasness to MuleSoft, because we
this
are part of a
connectors
MuleSoft
are all
meetup, right?
using HTTP call, Rodesha, right? This connector all internally using HTTP
Yes,
calls.
exactly. All the rest API. So because we are in MuleSoft meetup and being a biasness to the MuleSoft, because as we are talking of the MuleSoft meetup, you should think about the MuleSoft because that's the whole point. Is definitely it's a very good part whenever we're talking IBM Stack, WSO2, WAC any other TIPCO, any other things. But presently we are only focusing on the MuleSoft visit because it's a MuleSoft meetup.
Yeah, I was just like talking
Yeah,
as a
it's a
integration in
great point.
general.
It's a great
Yeah.
point, Dipanjan. Yeah.
Vijay, what you said, that is also very much true, and totally agree with that. 100% agree with that. We are in a MuleSoft meetup, and we are focusing on that. And what you asked is a valid one. Like why there should be an transparency, like why we should go for an API portal and why we should go in for an connector. Okay, that's a very valid point. But you went little bit architectural way, like where you justify like why we should do that. That's valid. You can ask that, but as the time demands, he don't have an answer now
No,
because
no,
a lot of things need
that
to be
yes,
done at
it's
back end.
completely agree. I'm asking because if sometimes what happens, they are ready with something like pointers 1, 2, 3. So it will
Correct.
be very much helpful for the audience. So that's what I'm asking. If anything ready, anything disclaimer, but okay, that's time.
Yeah, I will request just continue while the Subham was doing.
Okay. So what I was saying, like we sent this we hit this API call, okay, envelopes endpoint, and we were able to create an envelope. So we can see that we received one document. Okay, you can see for signing purpose. Okay, you can see that the username is there. Okay, which I provided in the API call. Okay, and the email which we sent. So basically, it was my email only, and we can see that we received the document and now we want to sign it. Okay, if we want to review it, so there are I think two possibilities here. Either we agree, okay, we agree to this document that let's say if it's an offer letter and we agree to all the terms and conditions, then we can sign. So again, there could be another possibility that we don't agree to these terms and conditions, and we can then just void this. Okay, so instead of this, we will just do the void. Okay, so we will not be agreeing to this, and we will not be signing this. Okay, so let's talk about another API. Okay, by which we can get these status, like if the user signed the document or he voided. Okay, so let's see, get envelope status. Okay, so we will be replicating the same. Okay, we have done the same in Anypoint platform. Okay, in Anypoint Studio, like replicating the same through APIs requests. Okay, and you can see that it is easily we can replicate the same thing, API calls to our MuleSoft Anypoint platform. Okay, so let's talk about get envelope status. Okay, so for now, it's again all the API calls are there, and I'm just telling about the body structure. Okay, so let's say if you want to use the connector, okay, for getting the envelope status. Okay, so let's use that for connector. Okay, so let's say get envelope. You can see that these are the envelope functionality we have. Okay, let's see, we have the status functionality, envelope status. Okay, this is a put request. It should be one get request. Okay, I think this is the one, get envelope. Okay, so I have already put it here. Okay, get envelope status. So here you can see that we need to provide an account ID and the envelope ID. So envelope ID we will provide the same which we sent in the request, right? So you can see we received one envelope ID, right? So if we want to name new this, want to know the status of this envelope, if it is signed or voided or what happens to it. Okay, so we can call this, we can use make of this connector. For now we are using again an API. Okay, get envelope status, and we have provided the envelope ID. Okay, let me just copy the envelope ID back. Okay, and get envelope status will pass this in the URL. Okay, because it's a guest request and account ID is already fixed for us. You can see the status is delivered. Okay, so it's not signed or it's not voided because we haven't even signed it yet. It's just delivered to the user. Let's sign it and see the status now. Okay, so I'll go here and sign it, signature. Okay, you can make use of these predefined, I would say, signs. Okay, adopt and sign. Okay, now when I will finish it. Okay, so almost done, no thanks. So we don't want to receive this or send to others, no thanks. Okay, okay, you can see that we have signed the document. Now see, if you are an organization and you want to verify if the user had signed it or not, right? So you will make calls to this API. Okay, maybe in a scheduling basis, right? Because there is no like notification API, like when the user signs an API, signs the document, they send a like a notification to your endpoint, or maybe if you have exposed a webhook and you can configure. So there is not that functionality yet. Okay, so we if we want to know the status of the document, we need to like query on a scheduler basis. Okay, so you can see if I resend this again, because you can see the status is completed. Okay, so based on this status you can create a workflow, like if the status is completed. Okay, based on a scheduler workflow, if the status is completed, you can pass the document to some of the like storage service, right? To store it for future reference, or if it is voided, then you can pass that, you can create a notification email. Okay, so let me like just design a simple workflow, like what will be the structure like. Okay, so
Shubham, I have sorry for the interruption, but I have one question. Like,
yes,
suppose
sure.
if the document has been signed by
Hmm.
the recipient,
Okay.
so is there any webhook kind of the mechanism is there through which I can get the events like the document has signed or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. As I already shared, there is no this functionality has been as of yet.
Mhm.
Like implemented in DocuSign. So that's why as I mentioned, that we will need to use this we need to hit this API in a scheduler basis. Okay,
Okay, to check the
that's
status.
just to
Yeah.
check the status. That's why
And in
let's
same context, like suppose you have initiated one document for me to put the signature. So how long that, like suppose it happens normally in our real use case, you used to get the offer letter and after 2 days or 3 days we put the sign. Okay, so
Mhm.
how
Right, right.
long this will be going to be valid?
Yeah. So for that purpose, you need to use a template. Okay. So let me show you the template part as well. Okay. So see where is it is. Okay.
No, no, like if we are going to come discuss this point later, then we are good. Maybe you can continue your flow. Maybe we
Yeah.
will see after this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will explain you in the template section that we have this functionality. Like when we are creating a template, we can provide all these options. Like when you want to remind the user to again to
Mhm.
send the document to the user that you need to sign this document.
Mhm.
The time is expiring, something like that. Okay. So we will be seeing that in the template section.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay.
Carry
Just I
on.
will quickly create the flow for understanding. Okay.
So to add Shubham's points, Rajiv, like Priya today also it shown like there is a scheduler option, like how it will expire like 5 days or 7 days, and after 2 days or 1 days, how long it will be regular basis. You send a notification like it's going to expire every 1 day, every 2 days. So there is an option you can
Okay,
configure over there.
okay, 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 okay.
Okay. So let's see. So even you can what you can do, just I will explain this flow. So what we are doing is let's see, use this request option as well. Okay. So space is here. Okay. So let's say we want to check the status every 30 minutes. Okay. So we will basically pass the cron expression or a fixed frequency as 30 minutes. Okay, every 30 minutes we will call this API and check the status of the document. If it is signed, okay, we'll check using the choice option. And if the status, we will pass that status is equals to let's say what was that, completed. Okay, so if the status is completed, we can do, there could be multiple possibilities for different business use cases. For example, you can pass that document to let's say if you are a CRM organization, you can upload the document to the Salesforce, to that particular user record. Okay, maybe for let's say it's a workflow for onboarding for onboarding a person. Okay, for onboarding a, like say, user. So then that, if it is signed, then we can execute the further workflow. So that are the possibilities that can happen. And there is another possibility that we want to store it for future reference. Then we can call a AWS S3 connector or API, and we can store the document for future references. Okay, so it is signed, then it makes sense to store that, right? And in the case of voided, okay, let's say user pass that void, right? As I showed, so it will, the status will be void. Okay, and you can check the status and basically send a notification to the concerned authority, concerned person. Okay, so he will be notified that the user hasn't voided. Then in that case, you can create another workflow which will again resend by amending the document. Okay, so that's about those two APIs. Okay, now let's see, if you want to verify the document, if the user has properly signed, and just for, even for storing, right? Even for storing, like this is our flow, right? So to get the document, okay, to get the document in that envelope, we have to call an API, right? Otherwise, where are we getting the document? We do not have, we haven't received, right? So to call that, let me show you another API, like all these functionalities which are here, you can basically find in the connector as well. Okay, so you just have to look, because there are a lot of functionalities, as you can see. You have to go through all these functionalities. Basically, we are working in the envelope section, so you can just type envelope and basically filter out all these. So you can see we are get envelope will basically put us get the status, and post envelope will basically create an envelope for us. Okay, and get the get the document. Okay, let me see if we have that. I think one of these will be let's see, document. So that's why we are using the APIs. As you can see, it is very difficult. Okay, so you can see that the get document is here and get document. So if there are multiple documents in the envelope, we can call this. We can use this connector option, or let's say we want to get the document. Okay, so you can see that we have to provide a document ID, an account ID, and envelope ID. These are the mandatory fields. You can see by cross section. Okay, and connector configuration. We will talk about this connector. Okay, so let's for now make use of the API. Okay, let's see where we have get document. Okay, get a document from envelope. Okay, so we'll call this API, and you can see we have to provide a document ID and an envelope ID. Okay, so let's just quickly find that out where we have that in the request. Okay, you can see I pass the document ID as I think here I will find the document ID. This is the base 64 of that. Okay, you can see the document ID is 1234. Okay, so I'll just pass this document ID and copy the envelope ID as well here. And where's that again? Get a document from envelope. Okay, envelope ID I will pass it here, and documents. Okay, let's send the request. You can see that we have received the document. Okay, and you can see I have signed it right here only, and we will. So you can make use of this call to get the document and then basically transfer it to some storage service, or maybe you want to send it to some CRM, right, Salesforce or anything. So these are all the three APIs, and I have replicated the same in the in the MuleSoft. Okay, so I'll just quickly explain the configurations here. So you have to use a to call a REST API. You have to use HTTP request, right? So this is the host that you are need to use. Okay, basically you can copy that from here only base URL. Okay, again you do not have to use this slash REST API because it is not the host part. You have to use pass that in the path section. Okay, so if I will go again, authorization remains, right? So settings, go to settings and pass these two headers. One is authorization, so bearer, passing the bearer with token value. Okay, and authorization is the header. Again, content type we have to pass application slash JSON. So this is the authentication part for the uh, the configuration part for the request connector. Okay, and then method, whatever method you are calling. For example, we are getting the status, right? I think this is the status one. Yeah, get envelope status report. Okay, and the endpoint we are calling. So again, you can like I have for now I have hard coded the values. You can always like design your use case, like design your input in such a way that you will receive this maybe in a header section or in the body section. Okay, and then you can just make use of that and will fill out it here. Okay, so I have just designed these workflows. I will upload these to the like GitHub if you want to make use of the code or the XML, right? So you can see if you want I can call these basically it will be the same. Okay, as we are replicating the same in um, the Postman. Okay, now let's talk about the connector. Okay, so these are the three APIs that we used. There are also other APIs that you can make use of, as I mentioned, like the templates. Let's just quickly talk about templates, then we'll move to the connector. Okay, so you can see gets the definition of a template. So let's say you are designing a template. Okay, so we'll use the like the UI for we can use make use of UI for creating a template. Okay, let's see where we have the template option. We log in. Let's see if we have it here. Anyways, like we has already explained you like where how to create a template, right? So let's look into that. So basically, when you have created a template, when you will click, you will open that template. You will find the basically template ID in the URL. Okay, I think I have to use the DocuSign normal. Okay, okay. See. Okay. so you can see the template section here, and let's see. So you can create a template here. I think it's showing streamline sending with template. So when you will show, let's not look into this. I will start. Let's see if we have the section here for templates. This is the REST API. Anyways, I think this is the templates. Okay, this is a fake. Anyways, so when you will get the template ID, okay, so you can copy that template ID. You can get the definition for that, okay, by passing the template ID here, okay. So here you are seeing the templates, all the templates information you will find here. You will also get the template ID. Let's try sending this request. See, I have created one template, so maybe we can use of that. Okay, you can see I created the template. So this is the template ID. As you can see, I called just the template section. So all the templates that we have in our account, we will get the information for those. Now we will make use of this template. Okay, so basically you can use a single document if you want to use it to send it to n number of users, right? So then you will make use of template ID. And here in the template, when you are using the template section, you can configure this expiry thing. Okay, expiry like reminder URL, reminder, all those values we can provide when we are creating a template. Okay, and you can update all those values using this all these options we have here. Okay, like let's say you want to add a document to that template, you can call this API. You want to delete something, okay, so I will just check it back in a few minutes, like how, where is the template section. Anyways, so these are the all the points that I was talking about. And now the DocuSign connector. Okay, let's come back to the DocuSign connector. And you can see so again, the DocuSign connector is not available by default. We have to download it from Exchange. Okay, so let me enable perspective, just show view palette. Okay, and you can just search in Exchange. Okay, the DocuSign connector, you will find it here. Okay, I'll just show it quickly. Okay, you can see the DocuSign connector, latest version is 1.0.3, and you can just import it and you will see all these functionalities here. So again, there are a lot of functionalities you need to look out for. What is the required use case for you and which is applicable for you. Okay, for now, as we are just building a simple integration, so we have used post envelopes part. Okay, so for, let's see the configuration of this. Okay, okay, this is here. You can see that we have to provide a base URI and authorization. Okay, so for the base URI, you can basically copy that link. Okay, and bearer token, again you have to basically, if you are for now I have used the token generated by calling the API in the Postman. You can again replicate the same thing in the um, Anypoint Studio by using the object store, a combination of object store and REST API calls. Okay, um, okay, yeah, so bearer and the token we have provided, you can replace this with your value that is being updated by every 30 seconds. We have to, every 30 minutes we have to update this value, right? So you will be passing this value from some variable. Okay, which will be stored in our object store, which will be updated by the scheduler thing and the REST API calls. Okay, so let's test this connection. You can see the test connection is successful. And basically again you will have to pass the same body. Okay, so it's a post envelope, create envelope request kind of. So you will make use of this samples create envelope. Okay, this body you have to pass it. Now you can see we do not have. Now let's talk about like we want to send a template, right? Let's say user does not want to do this thing again and again, like converting the document to base
So now,
64. Okay, yes.
sorry, yeah, sorry. Can you just one more time open this docu connector? Yeah,
Okay,
connector.
sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Just one more. Yeah, this connector configuration. Yeah.
Okay, this one. Okay.
Okay, so I just wanted to understand this in authorizations we are passing the bearer like the this token. Okay, so how long this is going to be valid? Because
I
bearer
think,
token has its some expiration time.
yeah, you can get that value. I think from when you are getting this when you're calling this, right,
Yeah.
authorization code, let's send this token. Okay, I think we get this. Grant. Refresh access
The
token.
answer
Okay.
is for MuleSoft, you need to create a different API to get the
Ye-
access token, and you need to use a object store so that you don't hit it again and again since it is valid for 30 minutes. And you can use then you can dynamically put it right. You cannot just hard code it. I
yeah,
Exactly.
think
so
for demo
that's
purpose, Shubham is only just showing,
yeah.
Okay.
So
but
that's what I
actual
mentioned.
implementation will be different.
Okay.
Exactly, that's what I mentioned when I was talking about the like combination of REST APIs and
Hmm.
object store, right, and the scheduler. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
okay,
What?
and you can see the expires interval is mentioned in this refresh access token.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so it's 30 minutes, I think,
Hmm.
right? Um,
But
okay, so
one additional pointer, this is a free version. If you have an enterprise version, so you can ask the enterprise DocuSign, whoever the enabler for you. It could be depends on your whatever the pricing model. It could be expanded. Like default could be extended as per your need, whatever your pricing things.
yes, correct. This time can be expanded, or maybe they can provide you a permanent access token. It depends, I think, again on the DocuSign team, right? Okay, so that's what it was, and I was talking about the templates part, right? So you can see in the body part, okay, create an envelope. Okay, so we are passing the like base 64 of that document. Now we want to use a template. Okay, so I will just show your body. Okay, that you need to use. You can see that this is the body structure. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Like there is an envelope ID we have to pass. Okay, routing order, email. Okay, so we are using a template now. I think if we use this, let's call this API and remove these values. Okay, let's send this. We are not token. Okay, um, this token is not replaced, so I'll just copy it from the refresh token. Okay, it should have it, but anyways, we'll just use the refresh success token. Let's send this request again if it is updated. Invalid grant. Okay. 30 minutes has already gone past. Okay, I have to update this code value. Anyway, so that's why it is showing expired. Okay, I'll just get back to that templates part, right? Okay, so body. Okay, so when I will send this request, basically it will replicate the same thing that we were doing with this body structure. Okay, like again you have to first configure that template in your envelope. Okay, in your template, this document. So yeah, that is about it. Okay, these are all the APIs you can always explore. Okay, for payments, power forms, there is a power form section. So if you want to create a custom form for the user to sign, you can make use of this power form section. Okay, and user section is there to manage the users. Okay, folder section is there to manage your documents properly in a folder. Okay, and bulk envelopes. So all these APIs are available. It's just there are a lot of APIs you need, and we cannot cover this in one section in one section. Okay, in one session, and that's pretty much about it. And there is a like blog we have written. Okay, so you can, I'll just share the URL. Okay, so whatever steps we have done, we have followed, we will be just updating this document. Okay, you can see all the flows that I have configured. Okay, here is token value, the envelope ID where you have to replace this. You can just use this walkthrough. Okay, it's not completely finished the document. Okay, we are just updating it as of now as well, and you can refer to it for future later references. Okay, so let me share that URL, and I think that's all about it. Let me know if you have any questions. Meanwhile, I will just quickly search out that template section. Okay, I'm not finding it here.
Yeah, thank you, Shubham, for your intercession with the detailed explanation. So, anyone have any question? Because Shubham and Priya has covered pretty much a very good way, like the representation wise, the all the example wise, from layman to the advanced level.
Okay, I'll just quickly share my screen again. I got that template section. Okay, so
Great,
this is
great. Please share.
so when you go to this apps and keys section, okay, you will land this here, okay, where you can see all the details related to your account. You will find the form section, report section, template section. Okay, so if you go to this template section, okay, um, okay, you can see that I have created this template. Again, you, let's say we have creating a new template. Okay, you can even upload template. Okay, already built template. So see, this is the template ID which you will make use of to get all the details about this template. And let's say template name is S, description, document will not we are not uploading a document as of now, just for such a purpose. Okay, um, advanced options. Here you will find the automatic reminders. Okay, like expiration, you can see that envelope will be queued for expiration on this, so you can increase decrease this date based on like how long you want the document to be active for the signing purpose, and number of days in which to on. So all these details which you were asking, you can get here. Okay, and you can see automatic reminders. We can send like after 2 days they will receive an email again that your it's 10 days to for your document to expire. So please sign kind of email. So that's what I was showing, and I was missing this part. Okay. So that's all about it. The template section as well.
Shubham, have you used it in any of your live project, Shubham or Priya? I mean, just
No,
to understand what are the features client, I mean, normally client use rapidly, or it's just a POCs that you have done?
yeah, it's just a POC we have done because I think there was not a proper documentation available, and we want to just make it out available to everyone that may want to use it in the future for their use case.
But they have their API portal, right? So everything is
Yes,
documented already.
yeah, but you can see that we it's for the connect. It mainly for the connector. We want to show it like what are the details you want to pass in the connector in the doc. If you even if you will go to the like connector section, okay,
Mhm.
again first of all like the
I was checking the
APIs.
connector section actually. There are lot of hundreds of operations.
Yeah,
So I search
see,
just post
let
envelope and there are
let
so many
me
things. It's yeah.
say one thing like first of all like the as you mentioned the API documentation is already well, but this see the sometimes user already all the information is available on the internet, right? But there is always like video sessions are there to explain the users because they understand it better when there is someone explaining all those things, right? All those values, all those parameters, like why they are required. So always, I mean, you many people are capable to understand the API documentation, but many are not, right? So that's why for that purpose we have designed those documentation step by step walkthrough and explain that
Mhm.
similar thing in our session. Okay.
No, no, no. That is a very good document. So I'm not asking about the credibility of any documents. API portals is already available. What I'm just saying. And connectors, yeah. So we have not explored yet on the connectors level, right? DocuSign connectors that we are having.
Yeah, I just explained that basically the connector like basic functionalities that three
Mhm.
get envelope status and the and that's basically it will require the same HTTP request body that we are
Mhm.
sending it. Okay, in the request API.
So one interesting point, Sampal, like here, though we are talking about the connector views of Salesforce, Salesforce itself
Mhm.
internally utilizing DocuSign because whenever the HRMS systems comes into the picture, right, the onboarding, like Workday systems and lots of delta loads are coming daily basis, weekly basis.
Mhm.
So at that time, Salesforce itself, then the PwC team, their internal API. So
Mhm.
I'm just giving some names which I know, and then the
Mhm.
MACD, then your
Mhm.
another good customer is PaidSmart for US and Canada based paid veteran and all these things. So they're utilizing DocuSign with the MuleSoft.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, anyone have any question? It's a very good session. So do you have any question? We have Priya, Shobham to answer all the questions for you. And thanks, Priya Shubham, for bringing it up.
Mhm.
Anyone have any questions? And one request, Priya and Shubham, because you people are doing a great job for that Medium platform for the documents. So if you had some additional pointers, whatever we discussed from the various questions over here, so just a checkpoint question or something else, a placeholder, it would be great help for larger audience as well. Okay,
Yes, yes, for sure. We can update it. So this is just a basic
yeah,
one which we have created.
absolutely.
We'll update. Yeah,
Sure,
we'll
sure.
update it.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, so
I
we
had one question here.
Please, please.
Actually, yeah, so when we were working with these APIs, so
Mhm.
we saw that JWT was getting generated and we are trying to manually refresh it. And definitely we can design an implementation where we are utilizing the HTTP request connectors to request for a new token, and we can utilize that token within these DocuSign connectors.
Mhm.
So is the DocuSign connector you know uh, that will be enabling us to auto configure that refresh in case like our token is not refreshed or we need a new token. So can we utilize any kind of configuration there which will enable us to auto refresh rather than implementing the entire going ahead invoking the API and getting the refresh token and replacing it with some kind of variable. There are some connectors I know in the MuleSoft which it allows to implement this kind of implementation with a refresh URL that are generally provided by the JWT
Yeah.
providers. But do we have this kind of?
To answer your question, Dipanjan, here we are utilizing authorization tab, right? Where we are passing the BRA token and the
Yeah.
URL also there. So instead of that access token generation, if you get the refresh token, right? So access token and refresh token always in your hand, what could be your usable things. So it depends on that. It will automatically, instead of the refresh token, if you get the access token and from that you could get the refresh token. So it's up to you how we are configuring. So DocuSign connectors providing the things to you, authorization part, but beforehand, whatever Shampa has also explained and Shubham also explained, using that, and you know that the implementation part with utilizing the REST API with the object store and all these things. But referencing multiple times, the best option is to refer the authorization token instead of a request token.
Understood. Thank you.
So the DocuSign connector does not have any functionality, okay, like options to refresh the access token or use the access token, update the access token. So we have to make use all of APIs and yeah. So again, one more thing that I wanted to mention that we'll be creating a part two where we will be looking at some use case, okay, which can basically um, and cover like cover all different function, more APIs and basically make use of the connector as well, okay, for creating that use case. So it should be a detailed use case, including some other API calls as well, like maybe we can provide the documentation to store the documentation documents to S3 or that's the file, basically send a email when the envelope is voided, okay. So that we'll do in our part two. We just wanted to basically cover the basic structure of APIs in our part one so that the users will know like what they're dealing with.
And another interesting part here, also you can enable the stream. So might be Suham initially told at because it's a very lengthy process to explain each and everything. So streaming is another very good topic for the DocuSign. How the streaming can be enabled, like whatever I told, like you have a delta load like 50K and 1 lakhs or 5 lakhs. So that time streaming will be the very good enablement for bulk API processing, whatever we know like Salesforce bulk API. So also DocuSign enable that streaming with the bulk enablement for your whole entire REST processing. So that's a very beautiful implementation for the any HRMS based system or any kind of notary based system for real estate. Another good part, I check some of the documents like housing.com. So housing.com's utilizing the documentation for their acceptance criteria. It's a another feather for that MuleSoft customer. Any other question?
Yeah, now I think like we are good to close the session.
Yep. Yeah, thank you once
If we do
again.
not, yeah, yeah.
Thanks
Thank
all of
you
you.
everyone for joining the session.
And thanks once
Hope
again,
we'll
Shubha.
meet again. Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Pradeep.
But
And thank you,
before
everyone.
closing, just can we have one chat or one suggestion? What you want as a topic for next Mule Meetup? Then we can discuss and we can check it out from audience. Any suggestion?
Yeah,
Hi, Vishnu.
Yeah, yeah. Hi.
I've spoken to Shubham as well, I guess, but I was thinking about can we have any session for MuleSoft and MS Teams connectivity?
Yeah, sure, sure. We'll make
Because
a
I
note
am
for that.
trying it about a while now, and but I'm not able to crack it.
Yeah, that is a major challenge is nowadays MuleSoft Teams is nothing but Azure AD and Azure AD they have make so many changes whenever because our enterprise account we don't have like every organization we don't have any admin privilege, right, but only user privilege. So we need that admin privilege to do so, but again we'll try our level best to accommodate and do some things. Okay. Yeah,
yeah.
thanks
I
all
think
of you.
we are good then. Yeah,
Yeah, thanks
yeah.
Priya.
Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Priya, can we have a photo over here before we drop off?
Yeah, yeah. Sure.
Can you take everyone? Could you
Yeah.
please switch on your video mode? Then we can have a photo.
So my camera is not working.
Okay, okay, okay. No worries, no worries. Whoever can do it.
Yeah, I think only two of us.
Just for a suggestion, right? Like someone has already asked about this MS Teams integration with MuleSoft. So maybe I'm just giving an idea. Like the next part of it, part two, maybe say suppose an employee is signing up the offer letter. So with the email notification, probably HR can get an MS Teams or Slack notification as well.
Yeah,
That might be an interesting one to see. Like both
that
the
that's great.
integrations, both the
Yeah,
integrations in one shot.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That will be great. That will be great things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. What we are planning is like suppose our application is getting some
Okay,
problems or some memory overloads, then you should get messages on Teams instead of mails. So
okay,
that we
good.
are planning. So that's what we are doing.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, let's.
Hi, Rajiv. Are you there already?
Hey, hey, hi, Priya. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
So yeah, it's yeah, it's great seeing you here.
Yeah. I don't want to miss this chance. Okay. So I really appreciate like Subham, and this was the also like I think I will say the new learning for me. But I think yeah, that what the Subham coined that will be really good if we are going to get the part two.
Right.
Okay, because
Yeah.
it's really a complex one. It's not going to
Yeah.
cover in like so many things are
So
there.
many things. Yep.
But that is really
Yeah.
good. I think like knowing these things, trust me, when I was doing this getting the offers during our switch, so we have done this many times. Okay,
That's true. That's
but
true.
if you really want to see the use case, if those who are part of the epicero or maybe getting the offer rejected or so, that organization follow end to end this DocuSign. Okay, so I
Mm-hmm.
never imagine. Okay, I thought it should be some internal, but now I can able to relate. Okay, that is the use case which we will all part of that or maybe experience. Now we are seeing this. So appreciate, guys.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, Priya. I really happy for you. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you, Raj. Yeah. Yeah, then I think we can now plan our Saturday after this call.
Yep.
Okay. So we'll meet again then
Yeah. We'll
in
make
another
sure.
session. Yeah.
Thank you so
Sure.
much,
Sure.
Priya.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you.
Thanks
Bye
all of
Thank
you.
bye.
you, everyone. Thank you, Shubham. Thank you, Priya.
Thank you. Bye.